All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Jeremy Moses. This is the Squirt Circle Cafe for Monday. It is December the 9th, 2019. Gosh, I can't believe it's almost the end of 2019. What a year it's been for me and for pro wrestling in general. So, speaking of which, let's get into what we're here to talk about today, which is the releases of Luke Harper, Cara, and the Ascension, Connor and Victor. And we'll start with Luke Harper. Luke Harper, I see a big upside in. He was not used correctly from the jump. Actually, you know what? No, let me back up on that. He was used correctly at the beginning as part of the super over Wyatt family act. But once they split, he just kind of drifted. Was injured a couple times. And that's just not good. At the end of it, that's just not good. And he was wandering aimlessly to the point where they weren't using him, and a few months ago, he asked for his release. Whether it was granted to him at the time, we now know the answer was no, but now WWE has changed their mind, and they're like, yeah, we got nothing for you, so we'll go ahead and let you go. Where's he going to end up? I think at this point, he ends up in All Elite Wrestling. And there's a pretty good chance he's going to become something big over there. In my opinion, dude has it. Dude has it. There's no question about that. He has it. It's just a matter of does anybody know what to do with the guy? And I think AEW might. So, we will see what they do with him. Now, as for Cara, another one of those talents that they really weren't using all that well or often, and he asked for his release a few months ago. Again, wasn't granted at the time, but has been as of Sunday, and I think that he's got some upside as well. What would I do with him? He needs to go. I think they need a guy like him in AEW. They do. They missed out on Rey Mysterio, but AEW could use him. It would help get the Hispanic audience. So I think they could do something with him, and I think they can do very well by him. So I would like to see that. He also, of course, would have the option of going to Mexico to wrestle there. Wouldn't be shocked if that's what he chooses to do. And I wish him the best. Dude is talented. No question about that. As for the Ascension, Connor and Victor, I didn't get it at the time. I still had trouble getting it. WWE's booking of the tag team divisions really didn't help matters. And at the end of the day, them being out of the company could be the best thing for them. I want to see what they do from here. Really, anybody, either of these four have the option to go to AEW. I think the Ascension are the least likely, but you never know. Could use them for the tag team division. But there could be some upside of these guys in the singles realm as well. So it'll be interesting to see. Couple others that have either asked for their release or been granted their release, and I want to talk about a couple of these. Mike Bennett. It's being said that he actually mentioned on a recent interview that he wasn't happy with the way the whole Maria, or with the whole he's not the father, or he might be the father storyline played out. And I'll get to that in just a second. Because really, I mean, we don't need all that. We don't need all these cuck storylines in WWE. Yeah, I said it. And we've just got too many. I don't have interest in Lana and Rusev's storyline right now. It's just bad. It's just bad. It's trashy, is what it is. But I got a little off the track. But that's what started it, was Mike Bennett and Maria having their little, oh, he's not the father storyline. Or he might not be the father. Or whatever the hell it was. See, it was so bad that even I don't know what it was. And he just got frustrated because there was no end game to it. It was like, or they didn't know what to do with it. I'm like, I can understand that. Even if it's a storyline that I don't like, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna want to know where it's going, and WWE just didn't. So yeah. And in the meantime, he's just been floating around on 205. And yeah. But I wish they'd do something with him, but doesn't seem like they're doing it. So I could see him being released in the near future and ending up on All Elite Wrestling inside the next 6 months. But we will see. Another guy that got released fairly recently, ACH, went by Jordan Miles in WWE. And Albert Hardy needs help. He was signed last Friday, by Major League Wrestling, MLW. The next day, he goes on Twitter and quits professional wrestling. I was like, what the flip? So, of course, MLW had to pull its advertising, all of that stuff. And I mean, at least it happened early. But still, ACH needs help. The dude behind ACH needs some psychiatric help. Is he going to get it? I don't know. But he needs it. Because he's not in a good place. Right now. I don't know what's going on exactly, but it's fairly obvious to me that he's not in a good place. And dude just needs some help. Speaking of, people who haven't been in a good place, I want to address the Mauro Ranallo thing. I'm glad to see he's back. Glad to see he came back last week. After taking a week or so off because he was mentally not doing well, and I get it. Whether that was because of Corey Graves, or whether Corey Graves just piled on to some pre-existing issues, I believe it was the latter. And if that's the case, Corey Graves was not in the right in either way. Corey Graves should have done better, or should have been better about it. Should have addressed the situation in a professional way. If he saw a problem with his colleague, with the job that his colleague was doing, there's a constructive way to criticize. And I've been seeing it said that, oh, you shouldn't criticize because he's got health problems. Sorry, but I have to disagree with that a little bit. You know, nobody's above criticism, myself included. And I actually have a mental health history as well. Depression, anxiety. I've had both of them, and I've been dealing with them for over 10 years, and they're a bitch. They just are. Whether Corey Graves realizes it or not, he didn't help the situation by going on Twitter to deliver criticisms of his colleague, whether they were valid or not. And hey, you know, Graves had a fair point, but there's a constructive way of criticizing somebody, and then there's that. So, yeah, I was not exactly happy with that. But anyway, with that being said, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a show. Just wanted to get a few things off my chest. As I've been away from talking wrestling for a couple months, while I've been in and out of hospitals again. You can follow me on Twitter at JeremyMoses85. Follow Daria at that Daria Chick. HardyCat1027 for JC. You can follow the show at SCC Podcast. We are on Facebook, Squared Circle Cafe. Shoot us an email too. SquaredCircleCafe@gmail.com. This is the Squared Circle Cafe. It's the show by wrestling fans, for wrestling fans. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.